Welcome to Xiao Voice. Continuing from the previous episode 186. Ling Quan's expression had become quite ugly as he looked at the young man standing there emitting a majestic aura. 4-star Do Zong? Ling Quan's eyes were gloomy as he stared at Xiao Yan. His heart was filled with disbelief. When he had seen Xiao Yan at the inner academy back then, Xiao Yan only had the strength of a Do Ling. At that time, Xiao Yan did not even possess the qualifications to meet his eyes. If not for the presence of First Elder Su Qian back then, he would have definitely given Xiao Yan a memory that he would not forget. However, Ling Quan had never expected this trash of the Xiao clan to reach the Do Zong class when they finally met again after only a short few years. Moreover, Xiao Yan was only 1 star weaker than him. How could Ling Quan not be stunned by this vast difference? While Ling Quan's expression was gloomy, Xiao Yan's eyes slowly swept across him. Immediately, the corner of his mouth was lifted into a slight smile that was filled with a chill. Back then, this fellow had wanted to fight him when fetching Xuan. If First Elder Su Qian had not intervened back then, the result would have been an unimaginable one. Even though the two of them did not exchange blows back then, Xiao Yan firmly remembered this Ling Quan in his heart. The ridicule that Ling Quan had given him back then was something that he had firmly remembered in his heart. Xiao Yan was not some magnanimous person. Back then, Ling Quan had humiliated him when he was still weak. This person even wanted to murder him toward the end. This point alone was enough to make sure Xiao Yan never forgot him. It is unexpected that the Xiao clan, which has declined to such an extent, is able to produce an expert Do Zong. This has really surprised this commander. Ling Quan looked at Xiao Yan in a dark and solemn manner for a moment before he coldly laughed. There is no need for Commander Ling Quan to spend the effort. Who can clearly speak about such things? Back then, I was only a Do Ling when you met me. A couple of years later, it will perhaps be difficult to determine who is the stronger or weaker one. Xiao Yan slightly smiled as he replied. Ling Quan also shook his head upon hearing the ridicule in Xiao Yan's tone. He coldly laughed, a villain achieving his goal. However, you have only reached a 4-star Do Zong. Yet you dare to act arrogantly in front of this commander? In my eyes, you are little different from the you back then. Although Xiao Yan was weaker than him by only 1 star, Ling Quan was confident he could completely defeat Xiao Yan if they were to fight. This confidence was not without reason. After all, the training that Ling Quan had received in the Jiyu clan along with the Qi method and Do skills he practiced were all top-notch. He really did not believe that he, who had undergone such an elite training, would be weaker than the trash, Xiao Yan, who had to learn everything himself. However, in my eyes, the current you is nothing. Xiao Yan smiled as he replied. He possessed an extreme dislike for this Ling Quan. Moreover, it was perhaps due to Xiao Yan's hatred for Ling Quan having accumulated since back then. But now that Xiao Yan had met this fellow again, it was really difficult for Xiao Yan to be nice to him even with his self-control. A denseness gradually surfaced on Ling Quan's handsome face because of Xiao Yan's rude words. His gloomy eyes bore into Xiao Yan as a killing intent flashed across them. Xiao Yan's expression did not change even a little even with Ling Quan's cold-eyed glare. He looked at the other party. His dark black eyes revealed a chill surging within. The two of them faced each other and 2 majestic auras slowly saturated. There was a vague killing intent. It was obvious that these two people were not good friends from the moment they met. Ling Quan. Xuan'er's pretty face turned slightly cold while she cried out. She appeared to have sensed the partially present killing intent within Ling Quan's eyes. After being shouted at in this stern manner by Xuan, even Ling Quan did not dare to slight her. He hurriedly withdrew his eyes, bowed, and cupped his hands to Xuan. However, the dense killing intent within his eyes became more intense when he lowered his head. Xuan had shouted because of Xiao Yan. This caused his heart to feel an extreme anger. Of course, he naturally did not dare to place this fury on Xuan. Therefore, Xiao Yan had become the best target for his anger. Young miss, the elders sternly told us before we left that we must bring young miss back to the Jiyu realm without wasting even half a day's time. If anyone dares to stop us, we are allowed to kill them regardless who they are. Ling Quan cupped his hands and respectfully explained. However, after speaking, his dangerous eyes slowly drifted toward Xiao Yan. Xuan, are you leaving? Xiao Yan by the side was startled when he heard this. He ignored Ling Quan's gaze as he glanced at Xuan with a slight frown. Xuan hesitated for a moment before nodding her head. This period of time was when her bloodline was awakening. The members of the clan would definitely be worried of her being outside. If she did not return this time around, it was likely that the true experts from the clan would personally come the next time. At that time, some unexpected changes might occur if they were to meet Xiao. This was not something that she wished to see. Xuan took a couple of steps and arrived in front of Xiao. Her warm hands adjusted Xiao's somewhat messy clothes as she softly said, "I cannot remain outside for too long this time around. Otherwise, I will end up bringing some trouble to Xiao Gege. Once Xiao Gege has resolved his issues, you should be in possession of the ability to come to the Gu clan. Xuan will wait for you." Xiao's eyes focused on the girl in front of him, whose pretty face revealed some attachment. He was quiet for a moment before slowly nodding. After all, he was not an unreasonable person. Xuan had been doing everything for his sake. If he were to insist, he would really have let her down. "Wait for me." Xiao ignored those around him as he grabbed Xuan jade-like waist and whispered to her. A faint, bright redness surfaced on Xuan elegant face as she lowered her snow-white chin. "Release young miss." Ling Quan's eyes were red as he looked at Xuan who was being exceptionally intimate with Xiao. The jealousy within his heart had nearly covered his sense of reasoning. He had always viewed Xuan like a goddess in his heart. He did not allow others to taint her, yet the goddess in his heart had revealed the emotions of a girl to Xiao, a complete reversal of her usually cold and indifferent attitude in the Gu clan. How could this not cause Ling Quan to become as furious as a wild beast? "Ling Quan, remember your status. The matters regarding young miss are something you cannot scream out loud." The face of the black-clothed elder by the side sank as he reprimanded Ling Quan. Ling Quan knows his offense. Ling Quan's face trembled upon being reprimanded by the black-clothed, old man. He immediately inhaled a deep breath and the redness in his eyes gradually disappeared. However, his eyes were dark and cold when he looked at Xiao. "Let's go." Xuan appeared to have completely ignored Ling Quan's voice. She took a deep look at Xiao before gently taking a step back. After which, she turned around and left. Her elegant face returned to its cold and indifferent appearance when she passed by Ling Quan. Her calm and completely rippleless voice caused Ling Quan's fist to tighten. Xuan bunched her eyebrows together after her voice sounded. She looked at the stiff and unmoving body of Ling Quan by the side. Her face became a little chilly as she solemnly questioned, "Commander Ling Quan?" Ling Quan inhaled a deep breath of air upon hearing Xuan deep voice. His eyes were dark and vicious as he looked at Xiao. However, he ended up slowly shaking his head as he said, "Young miss, please leave first. Ling Quan still has a task by the elders to carry out." Xuan expression changed upon hearing his words. She suddenly turned around and her cool eyes focused on Ling Quan. She said each word with a pause, "I have said, now, immediately, leave this place." Ling Quan clenched his teeth tightly, but ended up shaking his head again. "Ling Quan, you are really becoming bolder." The faces of the black-clothed elders slowly turned dark and grave when they saw him shake his head. They took a step forward in unison. A frightening aura covered Ling Quan. The dozen-plus people who had followed Ling Quan here faced each other upon seeing this unexpected change. However, they did not dare to say anything. Ling Quan was their superior while Xuan possessed a noble status. At this moment, choosing to be blind and deaf was the best option. Ling Quan's knees buckled slightly in the face of the frightening aura from the two black-clothed elders. However, he forcefully endured it. His dark and solemn eyes stared firmly at Xiao, causing one to shudder even without feeling cold. The more Xuan shouted at him because of Xiao, the greater the density of the jealousy in his heart. This jealousy had even caused his reasoning to become blurry. The little fairy doctor and the others by the side also knit their brows when they saw this unexpected development. However, they did not say anything. After all, this was a matter of the Gu clan. It was best if an outsider did not interfere. However, she could also tell that this person called Ling Quan seemed to hate Xiao. She had already made up her mind. If this person were to obediently leave, he could consider himself lucky. If he foolishly attempted to do something, she would let him understand that regardless of whether or not the Gu clan was terrifying, This Ling Quan did not possess the qualification to scream in front of Xiao Yan. Old Lin, capture him and bring him back. Xuan'er's face had gradually turned ice-cold. She waved her sleeves and coldly ordered. Acknowledged. The two black-clothed elders respectfully responded upon hearing this. They took a step forward and were about to attack when Ling Quan suddenly took 2 steps back. A flash appeared over his hand and a palm-sized, blood-red jade tablet appeared in it. There was a flamboyant GU word written on it. GU Jade Token? The two black-clothed elders paused their footsteps upon seeing this blood-red jade token. Their faces suddenly changed. Young miss, it is not that Ling Quan refuses to listen to your orders, but I have received a firm order. Ling Quan's hand firmly held the blood-red jade token. His eyes were unusually dense and cold when he stared at Xiao Yan. The smile on the corner of his mouth appeared exceptionally sinister. The elders have given me a serious order. If I meet a member of the Xiao clan during this trip, I am to invite him back to the GU clan for a gathering. If the other party refuses, I have the right to use force to forcefully remove him. Therefore, Xiao Yan, you should obediently leave with me. Ling Quan's chilly voice slowly resounded within the courtyard, causing the temperature of this place to become unusually cold. TL. The token is like an item that can be used to order certain groups of people around.